Most cat owners have experienced the gentle rhythm of a cat licking their hand, arm, or face, and assumed it was simply a sign of affection. While affection is certainly part of the story, what is actually happening beneath the surface is far more meaningful. In feline society, grooming is not a casual behavior shared with just anyone. Cats engage in a social practice known as allogrooming, the act of grooming another cat as a way of strengthening bonds and maintaining social connections. This behavior is usually reserved for individuals they trust deeply, such as littermates, long-term companions, mates, or kittens. A cat does not spend time grooming an animal it fears, dislikes, or considers an outsider. When your cat chooses to lick you, they are treating you as a member of their inner circle. Even more fascinating is the role scent plays in this interaction. Cats experience the world primarily through smell, and scent is one of the most important tools they use to identify family, friends, and familiar territory. Every lick transfers tiny traces of your cat's scent onto your skin while simultaneously collecting information about your own scent. In a sense, your cat is blending the two of you together into a shared social identity. To humans, a lick may feel like a small act of affection, but to a cat, it carries a much deeper message about belonging and connection. The rough texture of a cat's tongue is not merely cleaning your skin, it is performing a ritual that has existed for generations within feline social groups. Through this ritual, your cat is communicating trust, acceptance, and emotional closeness. They are saying that you are safe, familiar, and worthy of being included in their social world. The message is not simply, "I like you." It is something much stronger. It is, "You are one of us." Once you understand that grooming functions as a declaration of family membership, the behavior takes on an entirely new meaning and provides the foundation for understanding why the gentle lick is so often followed by a seemingly unexpected bite. One of the most common reasons a cat licks you and then suddenly bites has nothing to do with anger, aggression, or a change in mood. In many cases, the explanation lies in something behaviorists call petting-induced overstimulation. Cats possess an incredibly sensitive nervous system, and certain parts of their body are packed with nerve endings that react strongly to touch. Areas along the spine, sides, shoulders, and base of the tail are especially sensitive. What many owners do not realize is that physical contact creates a cumulative effect. A few seconds of touch may feel pleasant and relaxing, but as the stimulation continues, the sensation gradually builds. To a human, nothing appears to change. The cat may still be sitting in the same place, purring or remaining close. But internally, the sensory load is increasing with every stroke. Eventually, a threshold is reached where the experience shifts from enjoyable to overwhelming. The bite is often the cat's way of shutting the experience down before it becomes unbearable. What makes this fascinating is that most cats do not bite without warning. Long before their teeth become involved, they usually communicate their discomfort through a series of subtle but highly reliable signals. The tail may begin flicking slowly from side to side. The ears may rotate backward or flatten slightly. The skin along the back may twitch or ripple. The muscles become tighter, and the body loses its relaxed posture. To another cat, these signals are obvious and impossible to ignore. To humans, however, they are often missed completely. As a result, owners continue petting, unaware that the cat has already started asking for space. When the warnings fail, the bite becomes the final message. It is not a punishment or an attack, it is communication. The important lesson is that the bite rarely appears out of nowhere. It is usually the final step in a conversation that began several seconds earlier. Once owners learn to recognize the early signs, they can pause before the threshold is crossed. Giving the cat a moment of space prevents conflict, preserves trust, and allows the animal to feel understood. In this way, the bite stops looking like unpredictable aggression and starts revealing itself as something far more logical, a cat's attempt to maintain control over its own comfort and sensory experience. To understand why a cat can lovingly lick you and then place its teeth on your skin moments later, you have to travel back to the very beginning of a cat's life. Long before your cat ever met you, long before they learned the routines of your home or curled up beside you on the couch, they were learning their first emotional lessons from their mother. During the first weeks after birth, Kittens depend completely on her for survival. Mother cats spend an extraordinary amount of time grooming their young. They lick them to keep them clean, stimulate circulation, encourage healthy development, and provide comfort during a vulnerable stage of life. But grooming is not the only behavior kittens experience. Mother cats also use gentle nips and mouth contact to move their kittens, guide them, correct their position, and keep them close. As a result, something important becomes deeply embedded within the kitten's developing brain. Licking and gentle biting are not processed as separate or contradictory behaviors. Instead, they become linked together as parts of the same nurturing experience. Both actions arrive from the individual the kitten trusts most in the world. Both are associated with safety, protection, care, and emotional connection. Over time, this pairing becomes one of the earliest social languages a cat ever learns. Years later, those lessons do not simply disappear. They remain stored within the cat's emotional memory and continue influencing how they interact with trusted companions. When an adult cat licks your hand and then gently closes its mouth around your fingers, it may be activating one of these deeply rooted childhood patterns. From a human perspective, affection followed by a bite can seem confusing. We tend to view licking as positive and biting as negative. Cats do not necessarily make that distinction. In their world, the two behaviors can exist side by side without conflict. They are often expressions of familiarity and trust that originated during the earliest moments of life. This helps explain why many affectionate cats continue using their mouths even while showing clear signs of attachment. They are not mixing love with aggression. They are repeating a social script written by their mother long before they understood anything about the world. Recognizing this developmental foundation allows owners to interpret these moments with greater understanding, patience, and empathy, transforming what appears to be a contradiction into a meaningful expression of feline affection. Not every situation in which a cat licks you and then bites is connected to grooming rituals, emotional bonding, or sensory overload. Sometimes the explanation is much simpler. Your cat is playing. To understand why this happens, it helps to look at how kittens learn social behavior during the first months of life. When kittens grow up with their littermates, they spend countless hours wrestling, chasing, pouncing, and mock hunting one another. During these games, they constantly test the limits of acceptable behavior. If one kitten bites too hard, the other immediately reacts. It may squeal, pull away, or stop playing altogether. Through hundreds of these tiny interactions, kittens gradually learn an important lesson. Gentle bites keep the game going, while painful bites make the fun end. This learning process is known as bite inhibition, and it plays a crucial role in helping cats develop appropriate social skills. However, not every kitten receives the full education. Cats separated from their littermates too early may miss many of these important lessons. As a result, they can grow into adults that still enjoy using their mouth during play, but have a weaker understanding of how sharp their teeth feel on human skin. When these cats lick you and then give a quick bite, they may not be expressing aggression at all. They may simply be inviting you into a form of play that feels completely normal from their perspective. Fortunately, playful bites usually come with recognizable clues. The cat's body remains loose and relaxed. The ears stay forward rather than flattening back. The eyes appear soft and curious instead of tense or defensive. There is no hissing, growling, or threatening posture. The bite itself is often quick, light, and immediately followed by more playful behavior. Unfortunately, many owners misunderstand these moments and respond with scolding or punishment. To a cat that believes it is playing, this reaction can feel confusing and unfair. A more effective solution is redirection. Providing a toy, wand teaser, or appropriate object for the cat to chase and bite allows them to express their natural hunting instincts in a healthier way. Once owners learn to recognize the difference between playful biting and genuine discomfort, many misunderstandings disappear, creating a more positive and trusting relationship between cat and human. The most surprising explanation for why cats lick and then bite may also be the one that changes everything. Most people assume the bite represents a sudden shift in mood, a moment of irritation, or even a contradiction to the affection that came before it. But in many cases, the opposite is true. Among bonded cats, grooming sessions frequently end with a gentle bite, and this behavior serves a very specific purpose in feline communication. It is not an accident, a mistake, or an emotional outburst. It is a signal. In the social language of cats, the bite often functions as closure. Think about the grooming process from the cat's perspective. They have approached a trusted companion, exchanged scent, reinforced familiarity, and participated in a ritual that strengthens social bonds. Once that interaction feels complete, they need a way to communicate that the moment has reached its natural conclusion. The bite acts almost like a period at the end of a sentence. It tells the other participant that the ritual is finished. Seen this way, the bite is not the opposite of the lick. It is the final chapter of the same message. Together, the two behaviors form a complete social interaction that makes perfect sense in feline society. This understanding changes the way many owners interpret their cat's behavior. What once appeared unpredictable or confusing begins to reveal a hidden structure. The cat was communicating the entire time. The problem was never that the signals were absent. The problem was that humans often did not know how to read them. This is why some cats develop a reputation for being moody, difficult, or inconsistent. In reality, many of these cats have simply spent years having their communication misunderstood. Once owners learn to recognize the meaning behind grooming, overstimulation signals, early maternal imprinting, playful biting, and closure behaviors, the mystery begins to disappear. The interaction becomes understandable rather than frustrating. Something even more remarkable often happens as well. The biting tends to decrease. When a cat realizes their earlier signals are being noticed and respected, they no longer need to escalate their communication. They feel heard. And for an animal that relies heavily on subtle social cues, feeling understood may be one of the deepest forms of trust possible. In the end, the bite was never a rejection of affection. It was part of the affection itself, a final message in a language most people never knew their cat was speaking.